We're still inside the Google Drive on the browser, and you'll notice up here the Google Drive icon. So when you hover over it, it'll say sync complete, which means that it's currently synced up. We could click on that and view the different options here. It tells you right here that we have 0.06 gigabytes, which is 1% of our 5 gigabytes used. It tells us where we're logged in. We could click this link here to buy more storage. We can quit Google Drive as a program running on our hard drive, edit some preferences, or open the Google Drive folder. So a couple different things. You can open the Google Drive folder, and that will bring forward your folder on the computer, which you can see here. Here is the folder listed on the computer with the same things you see in the Google Drive. The check marks indicate that it is synced. Or we will go back to this, click again on this. You could view your Google Drive on the web, which we are looking at, and then you could view items that might be shared with you that were created by other people and shared with you. We click on that and it'll open up the Google Drive account and take you to the shared with me folder, which, as you can see now, right now, nobody is sharing documents with us since this Google Drive was just opened. So we'll close it out, return to the regular Google Drive, and take a look at one of these things. So this acts in this way a lot like the standard Google Docs. Right now you don't see much here other than creating new, or if you were to click this button, you would create a new folder inside this folder, which is where we currently are. By clicking on one of these boxes, you will get other options. You can create or organize new folders. You can move that selected file to the trash. You could preview the file or click here to do more options, which include opening up with Google Drive viewers, apps, sharing it with other people, collaborators, starring it, showing in your activity list, renaming it. There's a whole host of different things that you can do once you select a file. So if you want to click quick preview, you can click this I button and it'll pop up a window showing you a quick preview along with some other information. For example, sharing. So here you see a thumbnail of that, and here's some sharing information. It's private only to me. I am the owner. There is no description added to this yet, and it tells you what folder it's in, when it was made and revised, things like that. So for example, if you wanted to change the visibility, you could come here and click edit, and you'll see right now it's private only to the people listed below, which is me. And you could very easily change this access just by clicking change. And you have a few options. You could make this file public on the web, which means anyone can find it by searching for this name. You can create it so that anyone with a link, so if you're emailing them a link, they can access it. Only that person with the link can access it, or anyone whom they give the link to. You can make this accessible to your organization. For example, my organization, OrgSpring, has multiple people which use Google Apps. And by clicking on this, anyone with the @orgspring.com address would be able to see this. And this is great for collaboration with your team members and your nonprofit. If you have an executive director, a fund development manager, and maybe a grant writer who needs to see a certain document, you could either share that with those specific people, or you can just make it available to all the people at your organization that might need to see that. This is also great for, say, a marketing document or a brochure that needs to be shared with everyone at your organization, or maybe a script that everyone who makes phone calls at your organization would use. You can make this available to them. You could also make it available to people at OrgSpring who have the link. So it's a little bit more specific in terms of security and privacy. Maybe only one department needs it. So you can actually share this document or this page with specific people at your organization rather than all the people at your organization. So you can click down here about learn more about visibility, about those different options and what they mean. The other thing, we'll just click done to clear that. The other thing you can do is actually click on the file itself, and that will open up in a new window the actual file. And this was a PDF, so it shows as a PDF, and you can edit this in different ways. You can edit this description. You can embed this PDF file, and it'll give you actually HTML code that you can use to embed this on a website or anywhere where you would put HTML code. You can manage different revisions. You could email. There's a lot of different things that you can do. You could even export this to a Google document. So a lot of different things that you can do with the Google Drive that has been updated. Again, it looks a lot like the old Google Docs format, but there are some integrated things from a functionality standpoint. And we're going to show you some of that in the next video where we actually do collaboration. I have 2 instances of Google Drive running, and I will show you them shared between a person and an organization and how you can see the comments working in terms of collaborators. So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about collaboration using Google Drive. And this is collaboration between 2 people or 2 organizations on the same document. And it's really cool using Google Drive to handle this. Similar to Google Documents before again, but a few updated features, and we'll show you that. So right now I'm logged in under a separate account. This is just a general test account I use. It's the John Smith Foundation. And what I did was I created under my drive for John Smith Foundation sample blog articles. And within that collection is one post, which is a Google document, called A Great New Blog Post. And this just has some text. It's the beginning of an article that John Smith has written and wants to share with Craig, meaning me, at OrgSpring. So what we do here is, rather than actually sharing this particular article, we'll go back to Google Drive and we'll look at the folder and we'll share the entire folder. And we come here and we can click under Sharing. And you'll see here, this is John Smith. It says you, meaning this person, me. And we're going to add Craig at OrgSpring. And we're going to add me as an editor, can edit. We'll notify people via email so that they get this. We can even add a message. Imagine if John was sending this to Craig. Craig, here is a collection of potential blog posts for OrgSpring. And we will share that. Now, this person's name and email address is added here along with any kind of Google icon that they might have. We'll click Done. Now, what I will do is move this window away so we can see. Close these windows. And if we come down here, and this is Craig Grella at OrgSpring account that we're in, if we click on Shared with Me, you will notice that this folder has been added, Sample Blog Articles, and you could see that it was shared today at 1:01 p.m. from John Smith. So you'll see this note up here, drag files or folders shared with you to my drive for easy access. So we can take this folder here and just drag it into my drive, and you'll notice it goes from the Shared with Me account to the My Drive account. And there's a little person icon in that folder telling me that it's a shared folder. Now, if you want, you can look at different types of folders, and you'll see here, go to Shared with Me, sort by title, then drag folders to My Drive, which is what it's done. So if you are operating within your Drive account and you don't notice a folder that you may have created and it's not in your folder list, it may have been moved to your My Drive if you're sharing it. So you might want to look in those areas. We can dismiss this message. Now we'll come down here and we'll click, and you'll see here A Great New Blog Post, which is the one blog post. It was modified at 12:57 by John. John is the owner. We can click on this. And I am in this article looking at it. Now any changes I make will show up as being edited in John's system. Now the beauty of it is when 2 people are editing this at the same time, they can collaborate on it. And we'll show you how to do a collaboration between 2 people who might be looking at this document and editing this document at the same time. You'll notice up here this little link. It says no other viewers, and that means that nobody is looking at this document currently. We can expand on that and it'll open up the revision pane saying that John Smith Foundation had opened the document just moments ago and then has left. Now, what I'm going to do is position this window so we can look at both the Craig Grella document and also the John Smith document. I have 2 instances of Google running. And you'll see here I'm logged in with John Smith, and over here I'm logged in with OrgSpring. I will click on, this is John Smith who created this. As soon as I do that, on my side of the screen, it shows one other viewer now. And that one other viewer is John Smith Foundation, and he's noted as green. wherever he places his icon will show up on my screen as a green button. Take, for example, here. I'm in John Smith, and I'm moving my mouse around, and you'll see on the right side of the screen it updates. Wherever he is, that updates. You'll see if I highlight t-shirts, it shows here that John Smith Foundation has highlighted t-shirts. I could do the same thing here in John Smith. You'll see one other viewer, it shows Craig Grella. So we're just going to close this pane out for just a moment so you can see more of the screen. Now I'm here in Craig Grella's side, the OrgSpring side, and I've highlighted Humor 2 to 3, and it highlights here in John's. And anytime somebody makes a change, for example, if I come in here and I delete that, that will automatically delete at that cursor insertion point on his file as well. If I'm over here and I delete t-shirts, you'll see t-shirts goes away. And to view what changes have been done, you simply just need to come here, click there, and you could see who's online right now. For instance, I could send a chat to John and say, hey, why did you delete that? And that will pop up on his screen here as a status update, and then he can click and see that in his chat bar. They could chat back, sorry, my mistake. And of course that shows up on this side. And one of the cool things is if you go to File, you can see revision history. And I will maximize this so that we can see the whole thing. And you'll see the different revisions, what was done, when they were done, and the changes that were made. And you can click here to show more detailed revisions. But for example, at 12:57, John Smith created the document. The entire document is green. That's John Smith's color. At 1:07, there were edits made, and you could see that this was crossed out. That's the edit that I made. And then at 1:07, John Smith edited this. And any one of these versions can be restored. For example, if I wanted to go back to this version before John edited out t-shirts, I could just click restore this version, and that version would become the one that goes in. For example, if you made some kind of mistake, you can go back to that old version before the mistake was made without having to do a lot of different edits or figure out exactly what was done. So it's a very easy to use collaboration system that can be updated directly, and you can have multiple people working on the file at one time. And it's a great way to collaborate on team writing. Like I said before, you can do grants this way. You can patch in budgets. You can do all different things with the Google Drive from a document standpoint. Now, again, it's not as full-featured as, say, Microsoft Word or Mac Pages, Apple Pages, but it has a lot of those features, and the collaboration feature is much easier to use than Microsoft SkyDrive or Apple iWork sharing. Those you have to download documents, reuse them, re-upload them. It gets very confusing. Here on Google Documents, your document exists in just one place, and that could be either your computer synced through Google Drive or just on your Google Drive, which shows up on your computer by downloading the Google Drive to be able to use your online files offline. So it's a great way to use the system to collaborate and make sure all your files are up to date.